So enough for hobbies and objects for now. Let's explore control structures. I already mentioned the if keyword, which is used to create so-called if statements before. The idea here is that you compare values, for example, and you then execute the code inside of the if statement only if this condition here is met. Now, the if statement also allows you to add an else statement to define the code that should be executed if this condition is not met, and also else if statements if you want to check for more conditions if the first condition wasn't met. And you can add as many else if statements here as you want, but only one else branch. Now, of course, checking for hard-coded values like this makes absolutely no sense. This will always be true, for example. Instead, typically, of course, you'll use if statements to check content you don't know in advance. For example, here, I could get some dummy password by using the built-in prompt function. This is a function provided by the browser which will prompt the user for input. You see here, I get this overlay that opens up. Here I could type your password, and now I would get this overlay which asks me for a password. Now here I'm getting this overlay whenever I type a couple of characters in my code here, and since this is a bit annoying, I'll indeed go to the preferences here, and then the code sandbox settings, and set the preview settings to disable preview on edit, so that it will not automatically re-execute the code after I typed a couple of characters. So with that, I'm now fetching this password, and I could now check if the password is equal, using the triple equal sign operator, to hello, let's say, written like this. And if that's the case, I'll console log hello works. Else, if this condition here should not be met, if the password entered by the user is not hello written like this, I could check if the password is maybe equal to hello starting with a lowercase l, in which case here I could console log hello works. But else, if that's also not the case, I might want to execute this fallback code here where I say access not granted. With this now, if I save this, the code does get executed again, but I'll still cancel this and manually refresh to clear the console. And now if I enter hello with a capital L and press OK, in my console I'll see hello works, because since I entered hello written like this condition here was met and this code here was executed. On the other hand, this code and this code was not executed. That's why the if statement is called a control structure, because it controls which code gets executed. If I reload this and I enter anything else, like this here, and I press OK, I get access not granted, because of course I did neither enter hello written like this, nor written like this. Therefore, this code got executed. So that's the if statement. Another crucial control structure you should know about is the for loop. Now, JavaScript knows different types of for loops. One very important kind of for loop we'll also see in this course is the for loop where we loop through an array. For that, I'll again create my hobbies dummy array here with sports and cooking, let's say. And now if I want to execute some code for every entry in this array, I could create a for loop where I create a constant that will be recreated for every iteration of that for loop, because for loops are about executing the same piece of code multiple times, as you will see. And I could name this constant hobby, because now with the special of keyword, I tell JavaScript that it should create a new constant for every item in this array, and it should execute the code between these curly braces as often as needed to go through all these elements in this array. So for this array, 2 times. So if I then console log hobby here, for example, this code, this console log code, will get executed twice because I have 2 elements in this array. The first time for hobby being equal to sports, the second time for hobby being equal to cooking. If I save this and I reload here, enter anything here and open the console, I see sports and cooking being output here because of this line of code being executed multiple times. So this for off loop is also a kind of loop you should be aware of, because we'll also see this in this course.